Don Mazzella here for Small Business Digest. You know, we have a really great guest today. He's just written a book, like a lot of our guests, but but he also has a job. He's as an president of Deluxe Checks, and as my wife pointed out to me, because she follows the company, um, I always think of Deluxe Checks as checks. But now I understand that less than 50% of your business is checks, and you do a lot more. So we're going to get into that. But first, Barry McCarthy is going to tell us a little bit about himself personally, then a little bit about his company and his new book, and then finally a website. So, Barry, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Don. Glad to be here. I am the president and CEO of Deluxe. And Don, as you noted, Deluxe historically has been a check printer, but the company is much more diversified than that today. And checks actually are less than a third of our revenue today. The majority of our revenue comes from payments, cloud delivered solutions, and promotional products today. And we support 4 million small business customers, over 4,000 financial institutions, and hundreds of the world's leading brands. And we help them at every stage of their life cycle. When they don't even exist yet and they want to get incorporated, we have web-based incorporation tools. Then they want to have a logo so they can build a business. We help them build a logo in the cloud. Then they need web page design. We help them do that. We help them host their website. Then they need to accept credit cards and debit cards in their store, and we help them do that as well. And as the business matures, we have data-driven marketing products to help them find their next customer, and of course, promotional products where the customer can put their brand on a variety of merchandise to help promote their business, and of course, our legacy business of checks. But I have been here, Don, at Deluxe about 2.5 years. And I'm a native of Chicago, but I've been a corporate nomad and lived all over the country. Started at Procter & Gamble, and the great irony of all ironies is I was the shampoo salesman. And so I was a pretty good guy at selling shampoo, even though it's not a product that it was not a big consumption item for me. I went next and ran the ATM and debit business at Wells Fargo. I started a micropayments company that does exactly what Apple iTunes checkout does today, aggregating a bunch of small transactions into one larger transactions, much more efficient. I ran the VeriSign payment business that is now owned by PayPal. I was at First Data, ran all of that company's business, the largest payment processor in the world, all across the globe for about 14 years, and I've been here about 2.5 years. And what really intrigued me about Deluxe was the incredible scale and scope of the company. Again, 4,000 bank customers, over 4 million small businesses. And along the way, my experience in payments with small businesses, in banking and consumer products, this was really a perfect fit for me.
We're glad to hear it. But now tell us the title of your new book, when it's coming out, and why you wrote it.
Absolutely. So the book is titled The Small Business Revolution, a guide for small business. And the book really is focused on practical advice for small business owners to improve their operation and to grow their business. A lot of people don't know this, but our company also produces the #1 unscripted lifestyle program on Hulu and Amazon Prime, or Prime Video, which is also by the same name, Small Business Revolution. And in that program, we help a number of small businesses in a small town or in a neighborhood of a bigger town grow their business. And we turn it into a TV show, a little bit like a makeover show you'd see in real estate, but this is focused on business. So this is our 6th season that will be coming out later this year. And so there are 8 episodes in each season. So there are almost 50 different sets of stories about businesses that are there. But our company, and what we think makes the book compelling, is that we're able to draw on, the millions of small business stories that we have. And I share some of my own personal stories because I've been a small business owner twice. When I was 15 years old, I started a painting business, went door to door selling paint jobs. And then later, when I was living in the Silicon Valley, I started that micropayments company. So I'm an entrepreneur myself with a different perspective because I've been an entrepreneur in small, young companies, but I find myself today running a large company, Fortune 1000 company, traded on the New York Stock Exchange, a couple $1 billion a year of revenue. And so throughout the book, we tried to provide real world guidance and instruction, getting clear about your purpose, understanding how you want to market yourself, how to use social media in a way that's productive. What's the role for promotional product in your overall marketing mix? How do you manage your finances? What is a balance sheet? All of these basic lessons that so many small business owners just don't have a good resource for. And our book covers that at a very approachable way, in a very conversational tone. It's not a textbook. It's very approachable. It's something that people can pick up and put down and pick up and put down and work on chapter after chapter after chapter to really think about how they can grow their business and be more successful.
When's it out?
It'll come out the third week of October. I think the date's October 19th.
Okay, well, now let's back up a little bit and talk about a couple of things. For one, I still like to write a check, but I have found that I only write now 7 checks a month. I certainly pay for our company a lot of other things, but we seem to be doing it by either credit card or some sort of electronic payment. Do you think that checks and cash will eventually go by the wayside and will be all electronic?
The demise of checks has been foreshadowed now for more than 50 years. And so the real truth is the check volume is down, and we don't shy away from that. It is in permanent secular decline, but it's much, much slower than most people think, probably in the mid-single digits in an average year. And the reason for that is there's really no viable substitutes for the significant majority of checks that are still being written. Many, many, many years ago, people stopped writing checks at the grocery store. Yeah, there's still some, but they're not writing checks at the grocery store. Some places they're not writing bills. Consumers using checks are off significantly, and that's not new news. But the use cases where there are still billions, tens of billions of checks being written every year are really in payments to pay for goods and services, but also in the B2B marketplace. One of my favorite and most simple examples is if you're a restaurant and the truck full of provisions pulls up to your back door, there's no way they're unloading all of those steaks and fresh seafood and wine to your store or to your restaurant unless they're going to get paid. And how do they want to get paid? The only universally acceptable tender type is a check today. And so that driver of the provision truck can accept a check. They don't carry a credit card machine to do that. And it's too cumbersome and honestly, security risk too much to give everyone in the back of your restaurant access to your Venmo account. So there just aren't good, viable alternatives today, which why there are billions of checks and there's billions of one-use checks. Healthcare companies settle claims with checks, property and casualty insurance, refunds, rebates, incentives, class action litigations. All of that is still being done with a paper check. And that's likely to continue for some period of time. But our company is much more than checks. As I said at the beginning, checks are less than a third of our revenue today. The significant majority of our revenue comes today from our second largest business, which is payments, helping businesses pay, get paid, optimize, and grow. Our cloud business, which has web hosting included in it, as well as great data-driven marketing assets, promotional products, exactly what you'd think they'd be, forms that businesses use in the normal operation of their business, putting brand logos on virtually anything that business would like, and then of course our legacy check business. So Deluxe, that people remember as a check company, really isn't a check company anymore. We are a trusted business, trusted payments and business technology company. And that's quite a transformation in the time since I've been here. And we're very proud of the progress and continue to think that we will continue to become more and more a payments company all the time. After all, Deluxe is the original payments company. Our founder, W.R. Hotchkiss, invented the checkbook and really started the entire notion of payments besides cash. And we are proud of that, and we're using that to leverage our growth in the rest of the payments ecosystem.
Well, I guess my next question off that, you said you have a company that does imprint on umbrellas and everything else. Tell us a little bit about that company and why a small business should be using products like that.
It is very difficult for a small business to economically get their brand in front of targeted consumers. And so if a small business wants to get their brand out in front of consumers in a way that their brand is going to be seen repeatedly, a great way to do that is with promotional products. Think about pens or a mouse for your keyboard or a mouse pad or business cards or stationery. All of those things can be used to help get the brand in the customer's mind. When you think about it yourself, if you've been to a pizza restaurant and you check out at the counter, they may give you a pen that says, Bob's Pizza with this phone number, call us for takeout. And then that pen goes into your drawer at home, and every time you use the pen, you were reminded about Bob's Pizza. And then if you're interested in buying a pizza, you remember, oh yeah, I can use Bob's Pizza. So it is a very economical way to get your brand in front of the consumer, targeted consumers, in a very repeated way. And honestly, many of those products are really desired by consumers. And many of the small businesses that we know have actually turned it into a business where they have a terrific logo representing a terrific product. There's one of the gourmet hamburger places really close to my home, and people walk around and they buy T-shirts from this hamburger company because they want to be affiliated with. The shirts are really cool, the logo is really cool, and they buy the T-shirt and they wear it around. The same for hats and other logoed apparel. So for a small business, it's a great opportunity to potentially earn a little bit of income, but also to get your brand out in the marketplace, truly in the hands of consumers, to be reminded of the product or service that you offer. And it's a very effective, time-proven strategy to get the brand out there and get your message out into targeted consumers' hands.
Oh, I wouldn't argue with you. It's just that sometimes it represents, in our studies, almost 20% of the promotion budget is used in various things like this. And people say, how do we measure the return for doing that?
And you know what? I think that's the difficulty in most marketing scenarios. You have the same challenge in mass media, whether it's radio, TV, et cetera, billboards, even in social media, unless it's tied directly to an order. And much of brand marketing or brand advertising is very difficult to trace back to an individual transaction. And I don't know who it was. It was someone famous, one of the great industrialists of the early 20th century said, I'd like to cut half of my advertising budget. I just don't know which half. And that's a real challenge. But that's why promotional products continue to be a hit with small business, because it's relatively low cost. It's easy to get them in the hands of targeted consumers, and everyone enjoys having whatever the product is that's being offered. Of course, it's not the only answer for a small business, but it's part of the marketing mix that can help that business be successful.
Well, in your book, what do you recommend are the 3 or 4 top things that a small business should do to get their name or brand out, whether it's locally or now it's much wider footprint?
So the book goes into some pretty good detail about how to leverage social media channels. Increasingly, consumers are determining where they're going to go to buy a product or service from social media channels, not just Facebook or Twitter, but even places like LinkedIn. People want to go and hear Yelp, as an example. People want to go and hear how others have experienced this particular business. So recommendations, referrals, testimonials in social media channels are very, very powerful way to get attention for your small business. We even talk in the book about how to solicit support and ask customers to post for you to talk about the quality of their experience. So that's very important. We also talk about doing old school things like flyers, and we go on in some length and we talk about promotional products. And we also talk about the importance of having a website that works and how to design a website that's going to work. Everything from choosing the web address to how the pages are designed to making sure there's an adequate and simple to use payment checkout mechanism at the end of the process so that you can actually sell something. So we talk in the book about all of those things, and we make the point pretty clearly that it's about getting the optimal combination for that small business. And the only way to do that is to test and learn. And we give some examples and some ideas of how to do that. But for any small business, there's no single silver bullet that's going to solve all the problems. But we help lay out a series of steps where businesses can find their optimal combination for marketing.
Well, let me ask you this question because it came up in another interview just the other day. You go to a company like yours or Vistaprint or somebody, and they say, "We'll do a website for you." But what? And you give it to one of your people. What are we talking about in terms of cost? And what should a small business, let's say he or she is starting out, and they want the first 5 pages of their site, what should they be um, asking you to do, and what should they be doing for you?
Sure. So, increasingly, customers are buying bundles of solution. So the primary distribution vehicle for our web hosting business isn't direct with Deluxe. It's actually resold through telcos. So most small businesses get a small business bundle that probably includes a mobile line. It includes broadband internet access, sometimes a Wi-Fi router, often includes a website. And that is a really efficient way to buy a website package because it comes as part of a bundle. And in doing so, it's very, very economical for that small business. And so, of course, the price varies depending on how many pages the customer wants, what else comes in the bundle. So it's hard for me to give you an exact answer on what the price point should be, but I would encourage customers to look first, honestly, to their telcos, because you have to do business with a telco no matter what, because just like you need a telephone line or a mobile number and you need broadband access, that is a great place to look sort of first for your partner. But there's lots of other companies out there that can help and lots of other good quality companies that are there. But it is equally important that the website be designed really well and an easy flow where the web pages are clear and easy to understand. It's also incredibly important that the web address is easy to implement and it's easy to find. Sometimes people get kind of cute and they think that a clever, cute name is going to be helpful to them with a unique spelling. And sometimes that can be helpful, but oftentimes it actually hurts web traffic because people don't know how to make that cute spelling when they're trying to rethink the name of the company's business. So there's a series of tips that we provide in the book to help people make those right decisions for themselves to make sure their web presence is strong and to help drive traffic to the website, which ultimately should lead to revenue for the business.
Well, if you were to say that someone comes to you about to start a small business, what are the 2 or 3 things off the top of your head you would say to them that they should think of first?
The first thing is you got to be clear on the purpose. What is the nature of the business and why do you want to be in business? I think many small businesses get started thinking that someone can convert a hobby into a business that can provide for their family. Maybe you can, but maybe you can't. But obviously, you can't invest your life savings and all of your career energy in something that there's no market for. So first, be clear about the purpose. Why are you doing it? Is it a hobby? Are you trying to pay for a hobby or are you trying to support your family? If you're trying to support your family, let's talk really seriously about what that business has to be able to do. You may love model trains, or you may love gluten-free baked goods, or you may love painting supplies for artists. But is there a sufficient market opportunity in your area to be successful? Just because you like gluten-free products, or you like trains, or you like to paint, are there enough other people in your community that would be able to support a business that you could cover all of the cost and still provide a wage for an income for your family? That's a difficult question, and many small business owners get it wrong because they believe I love trains, so everybody loves trains. Or I love gluten-free, or my family needs gluten-free products, so I know lots of other families that need gluten-free products. But the question is, are there a lot of other families that are willing to pay a premium price to buy gluten-free baked goods often enough or consistently enough that you can turn that into a business? And there's simple ways to do that, with customer surveys, engaging with interest groups, and learning more about the size and opportunity of a market. Just because you have passion for something does not mean that's going to be a business. You've got to be certain that the product you have, the service that you offer, and the marketplace where you serve, it can support you. The road is littered with small businesses who had a great product, but they were selling in the wrong place. They were selling it in a small town, but it's a product that would have done really well in a larger town. Or they were selling a product that would have done really well in a specialty grocery store, but they were trying to get shelf space in a Kroger and couldn't make it happen. So it's about getting the right combination, and thinking very carefully about the market you serve, not what you want. Never think about what you want in the context of, can a business be big enough? Think about what customers want and what the marketplace can support, and what the demand is going to be for your product or service.
Barry, your book again, and how people will be able to get it.
The Small Business Revolution. It will be available at Amazon and Barnes and Noble. And you can read more about it all at our own site, deluxe.com, where you can also learn about our company and all the products that we offer, not only to help small businesses, but big businesses as well. And also at the smallbusinessrevolution.org, and additional websites to come.
Okay. Well, we have about 2 minutes left. What would you like to leave our audience with?
Small business owners really are the backbone of America. They're really, truly heroes. And they are the biggest generator of new jobs in our country. And there are very few resources for small businesses to go and get educated. Most times, small business owners have to go and learn lessons the hard way by making mistakes themselves. And with the Small Business Revolution, we take some of that guesswork out. We provide use cases and business cases where others have tried and failed, or tried and succeeded. And we help those small business owners to get a shortcut to success. We're very proud to do it. Small business is a big part of our company's business. And we're proud to be able to offer this book in the marketplace to help small business succeed. And oh, by the way, all of the proceeds from the book actually get donated to our foundation that is committed to supporting communities across the country. All aligned with our company's mission to be champions for business so communities thrive, and investing the proceeds of this book, not only to provide knowledge to small business owners across the country, but all the proceeds that are generated from that will be invested right back into the community. We think it's all part of our commitment as a company, proud 106-year-old company, champions for business so communities thrive.
Well, on that note, we have to say, unfortunately, it's time to go. But thank you so much for joining us.